Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of my podcast. Today's podcast is entitled Accepting Who You Are. And as usual, I will begin this podcast with a quote. Today you are you. This is truer than true. There is no one alive who is youer than you. And that's a quote by Dr. Suess. I know that the podcast that I did before this one was entitled Acceptance. And accepting who you are is a part of acceptance. And there's a lot that goes into acceptance, especially accepting who you are. And acceptance is such a big and such a broad topic, just covering it in a 30-minute segment just gives kind of like an overview. There's a lot of stuff that goes into acceptance, like dealing with trauma and healing. And I mean, it's just such a vast subject. And as I said earlier, accepting who you are is, in that process. It's part of acceptance. But it's one of the parts of acceptance that I decided to pull out and talk about in and of itself, because this is probably one of the first steps or the most important steps to acceptance overall, is accepting who you are. Because when you accept who you are, the situations and stuff that happen around you, they're either temporary or they're happening, but it's fleeting. Or you have trust in yourself, you have faith in yourself, and you know that you can weather the storm, and that you'll accept this and allow this, or you won't. So that kind of helps the process go a whole lot easier when you accept yourself, which leads to acceptance overall. You are the only you on this earth. You matter, and your dreams matter. There's no one else like you on earth. You are a unique human being. You're created for a purpose, and that purpose matters. If you have a dream or something that you think, you want to do, or you were put on this earth to do, or that, if you push yourself and set out to do this, you could be the best at doing it. That dream is your purpose becoming manifest. It's like you, when we talk to people and you speak with them about their job, and they're like, oh, I was meant to do this, I love to do this is what I get up, like getting up to go to work is not a task or a chore for them. you know that's what I'm talking about. That's the purpose, that gives them drive. It's not about money, or it may be, but if money is their main motivation, but they have a purpose for getting up out of bed that's bigger than just, hey, I gotta do this in order to pay bills. There's a drive, and there's a motivating factor to doing what they're doing. And it may be their dream, and it may not be their dream. Some people, are doing things that they stumbled upon that, wasn't their dream at first, but then going through it, they're now discovering that this is their purpose, or this is their why. So, I mean, the statement is kind of ambiguous. It kind of applies to some people, and then it doesn't apply to others. It's a generality. But, for most of us, our dreams are the jobs that we, as young kids, before money and all this other stuff takes a hold of us over our lives. It's the thing that we want to do. Like me, for instance, when I was younger, I decided that I wanted to be a pilot. Not just any pilot, a pilot in the Air Force. I wanted to fly fighter jets. And up until college, I lived my life according to that mission, according to that goal. Becoming a pilot was my dream, is what I wanted to do, which drove me to take certain steps, such as getting my pilot's license in high school, choosing the high school that I went to, you know, choosing CAP, which was the Auxiliary Air Force, the first, military organization that I was a part of. So, but that's was my dream. That's just what I decided I was going to do at a young age, and there was no motivator to that. Like, my parents didn't tell me about it, or anybody else. I can't remember what the motivation behind it was. It was just something that I've always wanted to do, even from a very young age. Um, so just listen to your heart. Listen to, the the voices inside your head. Not talking from a crazy standpoint, but we all have conversations with ourselves, and these are the most important conversations that we'll ever have. Um, and we need to really just accept who we are, learn ourselves, just stop considering so much what the outside world says about us and says we should do, and listen more so to what we want to do or we feel like we should do. The intuition. If you look at the phenomenal process that you have to undertake to even begin the process of life on this earth, you will understand how great you are. So I'm not going to get in the process of how a human being is conceived, but I'm pretty sure all of us know it out there who's listening to this podcast. If not, you can YouTube it. But the process of conception is such I don't know what to call it, like luck or purpose, or I believe you're here for a purpose. I believe that you made it through this process for a purpose. Out of the millions and millions of possible people that could have been conceived, you were conceived for a purpose. I believe that you made it through that process. I don't believe it's luck. I say it was luck, but I just didn't know, how to really conceptualize it. You know what I'm saying? But the process that we have to go through is just so remarkable, that just in that itself is a testament to, how great you are. You beat out, a million plus potential other people to begin the process of conception. And then once you were conceived, then you survived the process of, the birth cycle, or the process of going full term until the 9 months. And then you survived that process. And then you grew up in the world from an infant all the way up until this point now. And you survived 100% of all your bad days. And nothing is by chance. There's a purpose in it all. I believe everything has a purpose. You may not be able to see it. I may not be able to see it. We might not know the reason why, but there is definitely a purpose. And part of accepting yourself is learning what your purpose is. Whether it's through like spiritual enlightenment because of your religion, just sitting down and, asking yourself tough questions, who am I outside of your job, or the position that you hold in the world, or any of that other stuff that, sometimes we identify ourselves by. Just sit down and ask yourself some of the hard questions. When you journal, they have prompts on the internet you can look up that will guide you through asking yourself some very tough questions, some questions that are along the lines of what we're talking about right now. So just ask yourself, sit down and just be real. Do I like this? Do I not like that? What do I think about this? What do I think about that? Who am I without this? Just get to the core of who you are, of your being. You have a purpose, a light within you. A light within you. I'm sorry, it's dark in here, so like my notes are kind of blurry, but you have a purpose, a light within you that will dim or destroy some of the darkness on this earth. Don't let people or situation dim your light. Again, I apologize for that. This writing is a little bit messed up. But you were created for a purpose. We've already discussed that. And I believe this purpose is to do something on this earth that someone else couldn't do, or that someone else won't do. You have a purpose that, when completed or when achieved, it can quite possibly, destroy some of this darkness that's existing on the earth. Some of these problems or complexities that we face, whether it be in science, healthcare, even teaching kids and stuff like that, because that's very important. That's underrepresented as something that's very important, because the kids are our future. But even being a teacher, that's really a calling. So don't again, it's let your light shine. Just like when we were little, we used to sing that song, "This Little Light of Mine." I'm gonna let it shine. You gotta let your light shine. Don't let situations or people or places or temporary circumstances dim your light, or trauma or stuff that you're going through or have gone through, like, don't let it dim your light, because your light may be a solution to somebody else's darkness. You know, somebody else might be going through something that you were put on this earth to specifically deal with and help them go through that. Like, I've heard sayings by motivational speakers and just research on the internet that one of the richest places on earth is the graveyard. And the reason I say that the one of the richest places on earth is the graveyard is because there are millions and millions and millions of people who have died, who have not realized their full potential, who just went through life doing what they have to do and not what they wanted to do or what they needed to do as far as fulfilling who they are or their dreams. And those dreams or those goals could have helped somebody else in a very meaningful way. And it's wasted. They went through life not realizing their potential, and and you not realizing your potential, you're cheating the world out of an experience or something that they could benefit from greatly. So don't underplay your importance, because you are important. You matter. And a part of getting on track, a part of moving towards your destination, a part of being in a place where you're able to do what you're meant to do, is you have to accept who you are outside of this world. Like, you can't let the world dictate who you are, because your mission is yours and yours alone. Being different is not a bad thing. Following the crowd is not a good thing. Dare to be different. It's, if you're going the same direction as everybody else, you need to question yourself. Is this the direction I need to be going? Just because this feels comfortable, is this right? Because a lot of times when you're going the right way or you're doing the right thing that you're supposed to be doing, you're going to go against the crowd. It's going to be unpopular, or it's not going to be something that's going to be looked upon very favorably, because there's something called cognitive dissonance. It's a psychological term, but when people are confronted with new information contrary to something that they've been told, like, that has been solidified or concrete in their mind, then it causes a phenomenon called cognitive dissonance. And it's basically they have to face a new reality that they don't want to face. And we all go through cognitive dissonance at one time or another throughout our lives, with various truths, and it depends on just the way you live your life. It could be something as simple as, I don't know, if Santa Claus is real, and it could be a religious thing, or it could be an ideology, a political standpoint. It just happens as you grow up, because you receive more information, you learn more, you're around different people, you go out into the world and you experience things. So your ideologies and your experiences grow from just something you learn in a textbook, through like elementary and middle school and high school, to something that you're actually participating in and getting it to actually experience. So at some point in time, you'll probably face cognitive dissonance. And just like anything else in life, you have two choices. There's a fork in the road. You can believe this new idea and start to conceptualize that, or you can stick to the idea that you already have solidified in your mind, and you could just go on about your business. Sometimes when presented with this fork in the road, there's an argument for both. I'm not saying that every time there's a fork in the road, you need to choose to stay solidified with your idea, but there are times when that is what you need to do, because you need to be, unshaken in your fundamental belief and ethics and stuff like that. But there are some things that we're going to be tested on, that we're going to, maybe consider or even go down that road. And if you look at some things, then you go down that road and, hey, it's not what you thought it was, or, it wasn't what it looked like. You can always turn back and go to your other thoughts. Or I'm not talking about any like sweeping or I'm talking about like thoughts or concepts or theories, or just experiencing things, not just taking something that somebody told you and then that being the basis for the decision of being who you are and accepting who you are. I'm talking about actually being a practitioner, like going out in the world, experiencing things, building your own theories, building your own rationalizations, stuff like that. Don't take what others say to heart. People fear what they don't understand, and they can cause them to do stupid things. If you go against the grain, there, like I said, there's gonna be a lot of people that don't like that. And because of the cognitive dissonance, because of fear, it's gonna cause them to do stupid things, things they don't understand. And it's just human nature, you know? Because people at their core want to be accepted. They want to be a part of the group. They want to be loved. So when they see people that are going against that, you know, it rubs them the wrong way. It makes them feel kind of, you know, this isn't right or that's not right. And what you may be doing may be right, it may not be right. That's for you to understand is at your place in life. But don't be swayed by what people think. You know, evaluate stuff on your own. You know, look at the situation and think to yourself, you know, is this credible information? Where am I getting the source from? How does this apply to me? How can I use it to better myself or to make better decisions or to reevaluate the lens that I look through and view life? You know, just be more of a internal critic and let your actions be based on your own critiques and not the critiques of this world or other people in this world. Don't let music, commercials, social media, the news dictate who you are. Be you and the truest you that you can be. Don't let the media tell you, you know, what's popular or what you should like. Don't let, you know, the media tell you who to vote for. Don't let the media tell you, you know, what policies are good or in favor or what. Do your own research. You know what I'm saying? Like, do your own research. Just like with voting, we'll just talk about that since I brought that up, or since that's been a very hot issue here lately, since we're in the election season and stuff like that, even though it's already over. When all of these candidates and stuff come up, do your research. You know, why do you believe that this person is good? Do they embody the ideals that you cherish, that you fundamentally believe is the direction that this nation should be going in, as opposed to I'm just voting for this person because they sit in a certain party. You know, I'm a Democrat, so I'm going to always vote Democrat, or I'm a Republican, so I'm going to always vote Republican. You know, voting like that doesn't really serve this country or serve this nation, I feel. I feel that we need to elect and put in power individuals that have our interest in mind as a nation and that can pull us together and make us go in a direction, or not make us, but lead us in a direction that is conducive to growth and betterment for our nation and for, you know, everyone involved. I don't believe that anybody should, you know, get more or benefit more than the other. But, you know, this is, and I'm not talking about, you know, only doing your research based on this is what Fox News says, or this is what CNN says, or this is what ABC says. Do your own research. Like, read articles. Like, look in the past and look at what they were saying before they became candidates, when they were just, you know, senators or mayors or whatever. But like, do your research. Like, don't just take people's words for it. You know, even if they say, oh, this person is against this and they stand for this, do your research. Like, what does it mean? Like, cipher through all the, you know, political stuff, the jargon and the favoritism and the discrediting and the blaming, and sift through all of that and get down to the truth and see who these people really are. You know, because we're in 2020, about to go into 2021. We're in the most technologically advanced era the world has ever been in, and we have the most access to information. I mean, you can see what these people, their careers have been. You know, their careers speak for themselves. What do they stand for? Who are they? You know, we can determine that information. Likewise with anything else we want to look up. You know, you can look as far back as you want to, you know, when it comes to some of these things that you're looking up, trying to conceptualize or decide on. You know, don't just take somebody's word for it. You know, and that goes for anything and everything. I was just talking about, you know, politics because that just came up and we're in the political season. And, you know, I'm not trying to sway anybody this way or that way. What's done is done. And we're watching it unfold as time goes on. But just the same thing applies in everything. You know, be considerate of who's saying it. Be considerate of where it's coming from. Be considerate of what agenda that the source is trying to achieve. Create a moral and ethical code and use that as the foundation for your decisions. Like I was talking about that fork in the road, this is when I was saying that you shouldn't change your decision. Like if it's something that goes against your ethics or your moral code that you have set for yourself, then you shouldn't, decide to change, or you shouldn't decide to go with it. But again, like, because there's always, life is about the journey. There are some things that are going to shake your ethics and shake your moral codes, and you're going to have to decide, is this a new way of thinking? Is this a new way that I should, consider things from this point moving forward? Or am I going to keep with the old way of life, the way that I have done things consistently up until this point? And that's going to be for you to decide. That's not for me or for anybody else to tell you. That's for you to decide, because this life is yours and yours to live. Nobody else is going to be held accountable for the actions and the decisions that you take on a daily basis except for you. Your unique qualities, gifts, and interests may be just what the world needs. Again, you may be, if you want to be a doctor that specializes in oncology, like the study of diseases or cancer, then, follow that. You might be the doctor that, identifies some type of cure for some disease that's been around for a long time that nobody else can find the cure for. You might be the person that makes some type of link between two things that seem unrelated, and that just makes a big breakthrough in civilization and in society. And when I was doing this podcast, I gotta look at my phone real quick for y'all that are watching my YouTube video, because my phone's like on 4. We're good. We're in there. Sorry, I apologize for y'all watching my video. I accidentally put my front facing camera rear facing, so what you just saw was my computer screen. Apologies again. But while I was writing this podcast, something that I've always, had in the back of my mind was a poem by Marianne Williamson. And if any of you listening to this have watched Coach Carter, it's stated in that movie. It's actually a quote by Marianne Williamson, not a poem, I'm sorry. And the quote goes, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We are born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fears, our presence automatically liberates others." That basically sums up this podcast. Like, don't be afraid to be you. Don't be afraid to do what you feel that you were put on this earth to do. Don't let others sway your opinion. Don't let others impact how you do things in a negative way. There's some people that are gonna be put on this earth to give you advice and to guide you and to mentor you and to help shape your decisions. But we need to be able to decipher who's here to help us and who's here to hurt us. Because not everybody that's in our life is here to help us. Some people are just lessons, and some people are just temporary. So this is very important. I know that I say that it's just another piece to a puzzle, but this is kind of part 2 to the last podcast that I made about acceptance. So as you move forward, this is just something else to consider. Again, this is a very broad topic, and there's a lot to cover in this topic. So I hope this sparks your interest, and you look further into it, and at the end of the day, you discover and trust in the person that you are.